Aftershocks Tremors, we're back with another episode where we feature some of the best underground hard rock and metal bands across the globe. And today we're going to New York, my home place there, New York City, Long Island. You guys are from both there. I was talking to Christian here real briefly, Matt. So I know he said he's in Queens. You guys, you're in Long Island there, Valley Stream.
Yeah. I'm in Valley Stream. The rest of us are kind of scattered around the area. But yeah,
okay.
we're Long Island boys at home.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Queens Village, so
nice.
Not too far from Valley Stream over there. But anyway,
yeah, right on the border.
Right there, exactly. Absolutely. So, but anyway, from Metal Upstarts, Patterns of Decay, we've got vocalist Christian and guitarist Matt with us. What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us,
man.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get right into it, man. You guys just released your self-titled sophomore release. First in music from you guys in 4 years. So I think for your fans, I think would agree that it was definitely worth the wait, man, because this is one hell of a release you guys put out, man. A straight up banger from start to finish.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, it is. It's a great record, man. You've incorporated so many different influences and elements, of metal on this record, I think, compared to your last record, Suicide Notes. But we'll talk about the music in a minute. But let's just start off. I mean, let's talk about the fact that it's been 4 years since your debut. Any reason for the lengthy, kind of a hiatus? Oh, let's say hiatus, but lengthy time span between both records? Because I think, I'm sure some of your fans might have thought maybe you guys were done. So just talk about, putting this great record together over the last couple of years.
Well, you heard about COVID, right?
I think I might have heard something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely contributed to a bit of the delay. That ended up helping us out on the back end. Last record we put out March 2018, put out 8 songs on that record. And, we were spending a lot of time just kind of like, gigging on that record specifically. But then when new music started coming together, it was a really gradual process,
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we were ready to record and everything, COVID happened, and that kind of just set everything back.
Okay.
And everybody got depressed, and people started, like just having a really bad time, and it was, it was a dark spot for us as a band. So I could totally understand why people would think that we would maybe hanging up, but especially not being able to play shows. But yeah, it was rough. But man, it finally came together, and we're so happy we're able to finally put it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extra time definitely did help in the long run. It was unexpected, but I think, some things happen for a reason, and it was a good reason to happen. We had so much. We got included a whole bunch more songs that we were never going to have on that if we were going to go record.
Oh, really?
Originally planned.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. Well, and what's impressive, just about you guys' sound, man, it's just really the blend of all these different styles of metal that are just in the songs. I mean, it's different than, the last record, Suicide Notes, which I thought was, mostly just a kind of a straight up, metalcore type of sound, sounding record. But this record's completely different. You've obviously got the deathcore and metalcore bass with the polyrhythmic patterns, drum patterns, but there's definitely, you got technical death metal, in there. You got thrash, you got hardcore. You got post-hardcore elements. You even got some classic, like traditional metal parts. Like there's a part on Ocean Black that brings me back to like an early classic, 80s metal sound. And the best part about it with all these different elements, man, they don't sound forced. I mean, they all fit really well together. It's not like you're just putting parts together to, just for the hell of it. I mean, they really all fit, and it makes it just real unique and killer, just a killer record, man. So. I mean, talk about, the release and what you guys were aiming to do differently musically compared to the first record on this one.
I mean, we were definitely looking to push ourselves further than we've ever gone before. As far as contributions are concerned, it was a little bit more collaborative this time around. And we were really able to play off each other's strengths in certain situations. I would come in with a song, and then, the other guitarist, Dan, he would put some really cool leads over it that just, that we complemented each other really nice on this release. And, Christian and Tony really, gave their all as well. And everybody really came together. Jesse fucking shines through on the solo bass track we have. So everybody's really putting the best of themselves into this.
Fantastic. Well, just a quick question: what do you guys refer to yourself as when people ask you what do you play? what would you tell your the music metal listeners out there of what your style is?
So we have like two kind of inside jokes about this. One is that we're genre fluid.
Okay.
Really, we kind of have a hard time kind of nailing it down ourselves. The other is that we're not technical death metal; we're technically death metal. So,
okay.
Yeah, we
like that.
we just want to play metal, want to play some mean riffs, and want to have people think and maybe feel a little bit along the way.
Sure.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to have. I mean, I feel like this album was, we have so many guys in this band with so many different influences musically. When we were like, we felt like kind of pigeonholed in like the metalcore, genre, especially with like the last release and everything. And we wanted to kind of show that we do love metalcore, but we got so much more influence and things that we like to play. And it's not like we're writing things just to stick in a certain genre. We like to write things that we actually enjoy and just sound great to us. And if people dig it, they dig it. And I'm liking where this new album went, especially, music wise, and really branching us out more.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I said, there's just so much in there for everybody, and like I said, we'll continue to talk about some of the music, but let's talk about vocally, Christian. I mean, it's it's a more diverse record as well on this record. I think the mix is fantastic. How the vocals are really, I think, more out in front of the music than they were on the last record. So I mean, Christian, how do you go about and know also because there's also different types of vocals throughout the whole all the songs as well. I mean, obviously you get the death parts, you've got some of the sort of Keith Buckley-esque type of vocals. You got the melodic vocals. I mean, how do you know when to add those different parts, especially with those melodic style vocals? I mean, that you occasionally bring out, like a song like, for instance, House of Rooms. How do you know when you want to incorporate each different type of vocal style in the songs?
Oh, well, I mean, I would say that I usually get the full for 90% of the songs. I'll get like the skeleton of the song of everything going on, and I'll listen through it a million times obsessively, and then I'll figure out what kind of parts I want in which spots of what will complement the riffs or the drums or like the change in pace. And for me, I've always, when I listen to bands and my favorite type of music, I like the bands that even when it's like not necessarily a big change, it's a nice subtle change. They know that this part's coming on. So if you're going at like this type of scream, it could really make for a nice contrast or maybe like a deeper feel. If at this moment you go into a deeper scream, it's all playing around with ideas and what kind of sounds best after it's all laid out. And then obviously tweaks and turns. And then, it's, I don't know. I really just try and go with what like my gut or my instinct tells me of what's going to sound best for that.
Got it. No, absolutely. Well, yeah. Let's talk about some of the tracks. Let's start with the first single, Chrysalis. I think it's a great choice as a first single. It really showcases obviously all the different musical influences and elements that you find throughout the record. Like I said, there's so many different angles of metals on this song in particular. I mean, you could probably have written 2 to 3 songs with all the different changes and parts in this song. I mean, it really could have. It's just, you could have taken 2 parts here, 2 parts there, and made them all separate songs. I mean, there's so much substance in this and that song particularly. I mean, talk about Chrysalis a little bit, and why did you guys decide to go with that as the first single?
Actually, I mean, we went with House of Doors was the one we released first. We released.
Oh, that was the first. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That one, I mean, to answer that question for that song, we just felt was like the most, not necessarily the most accessible, although I definitely think it is. I do think it would be the easiest introduction to Patterns of Decay that we could have, offered. But we wanted to follow up with Chrysalis specifically because it's kind of on the opposite side of that song. It's a little less radio friendly. It's a little faster, a little bit more intense. You know, it might be even heavier lyrically. But, you know, we just wanted something that right out of the gate just went boom, you know, and yeah. And, you know, right after the little drum intro on that song, it just gets going with the shredding. And we just thought people would really dig that.
Sure. You know, yeah. Well, and also with Chrysalis, I know it's got a very strong message lyrically. I guess I mean I'm assuming Christian, maybe you if you wrote the lyrics, that talk about what that song represents lyrically.
This whole album pretty much is just a very, darker side of, I guess, your emotions personally. You know, some people might think that like when I'm saying, like especially in Chrysalis, would be directed at somebody else, not, but it's really more of an internal conversation you're having with yourself in a very, dark place where, you question how you feel about things, your lack of feeling about things, just going into your own deep depression and keeping to yourself and blocking out everything. And all the words are spoken between, I guess, I put myself as a placeholder, and then you could say it as some kind of negative force that is constantly, telling you, these bad things and telling you to stay where you're at. And it's basically trying to, it's an introspective look into just anxiety and depression and trying to, it doesn't necessarily have a happy ending. It's just, just an emotional state.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, the one difference I did notice, between this album and the last one are the song titles. I mean, there's no humorous, titles and quotations. 7 of the 12 tracks, in fact, are one-word titles. So obviously that seems to me that obviously the lyrics are probably going to be more serious in nature. So I'm just like, as you just kind of referred to. I mean, it seems like lyrically and thematically, the record is. It's not as it was previously. You definitely guys took a different direction on this record, obviously.
Yeah, we just wanted to kind of hammer home the themes a little bit more. Whereas on the last record, we played around a little bit. We showed a little bit of our more comedic side, especially with the song titles. Not to say that the song lyrics and content themselves weren't serious, but this time we took a more focused approach, I think, and wanted everything to kind of line up. We wanted the song titles, the artwork, the music videos, just to kind of have this overwhelming sense of, connectedness between the pieces.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's talk about guitar. I mean, the other thing that really stands out, in my opinion, and what separates, I think, you guys from with the other bands within sort of your, genre, subgenre, whatever you want to call it, is really the guitar style and the tone, on the record. I mean, it's not your typical, like, really super down tuned, low bottom, that a lot of metalcore, and deathcore bands play. It kind of, it's got, a little bit of a higher tone to it, a little bit more cleaner, and like, that's what I think I really, I love about the record, and I think that stands out. It's not overwhelmed with all that low bottom and low end, bass and drums and stuff. You can hear the guitar real clear throughout the whole record. What's, I don't say the secret to your success, but how do you get really that heavy yet clear guitar tone that I think a lot of bands in your genre just can't seem to get, or they don't want to get? I think it's something, like I said, that really separates you guys from the rest of those bands in your genre.
Thank you. We have a really good producer.
Okay.
We've been working with since the start. He's his name is Dan Thabit of Liquid Studios. He's based out of Vermont.
Okay.
Him and his team of engineers, Johnny Soul and Marcus Lamb, have been invaluable to us. They've handled all 3 of our releases, and they've grown alongside with us,
Okay.
and we've been able to offer something different on all 3 of the releases, working with them. And it's something I always look forward to, because we kind of get to meet back up and just be like, all right, where are you guys at? And like, where are you guys at? And they're like, oh, the songs are sick. And I'm like, oh, the stuff you're producing is sick. So we owe them a huge debt of gratitude, specifically Dan. You know, he really curated the sound on this album, and I think, you know, you all the instruments are really easy to pick out. Nobody's really, you know, drowning anyone out or anything like that. It has a more real sound to it, which may not be the polished modern sound that everybody's necessarily used to, but I think it's a little bit more honest, and I think that really helps give the songs an extra quality that you know, just a different producer wouldn't have been able to capture.
Yeah, no, the production it's top notch, you know, and like you said, every instrument really stands out on its own. Nothing's lost, you know, and like I said, and even with, like I said, the vocals, you know, being so out in front more so than it was too. It just really, I mean, the record's just so in your face, you know, it really is. It's just bam right there for you. It's, you know, you can't miss anything on it, man. It really is. The production's is top notch, no doubt.
Yeah, we're super happy with how it came out, and yeah, I couldn't recommend those guys at Liquid Studios enough.
All right, well, Liquid Studios people, listen up. If you need someone to mix and produce a record for you, there you go. Absolutely,
yeah, man. You got.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what's interesting too about you kind of mentioned this before, Matt, is, you know, about the accessibility. You know, like a song like Chrysalis, or just really the record in general. I mean, you know, you obviously got your, you know, your bass sound, that sort of deathcore, metalcore bass, but there's, like I said, there's a lot of melody in your sound. So I think at times it almost has, some of these songs sometimes almost have this little itsy bitsy of maybe, I don't want to really call it pop, but it's like a softer element, you know, that's thrown in there. But, and like I said, I think what that does though, for a lot of metal fans who typically, you know, maybe might not listen to this style of music, I think having those elements really, it does make it accessible. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, to say a straight up thrash, a hardcore fan can really get down with this because for some reason, I don't know what it is, but, you know, those little elements that are put in there really sort of just soften up, you know, the sound just enough where it does make it more accessible to more metal fans that, like I said, that normally maybe not would listen to this type of metal. I mean, do you guys purposely add those, you know, elements to make it more accessible to a wider audience, or are they just there because you just feel like it's needed at the time within the song?
I mean, for me personally, like, you can't have one emotion all the time. You can't be mad all the time. You can't be angry all the time. There has to be light to the darkness. There needs to be balance. So you need to have those gritty, crunchy, nasty riffs, and you need the pretty melody too. I love pretty shit. I love pretty sounding guitar, man. Like Between the Buried and Me breaks into, you know, the solo in Selkies at the end of the song. Fucking just, you know, like I just like, you know, music that'll transport me to some place where I feel like, oh shit, I'm in paradise, but the music's still heavy and it's all right, you know? So for me, I think those parts not only do they make it a little bit more accessible, but they're vital, you know? I wouldn't be writing music that I like if I didn't include stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that it all works out, and I feel like it comes like out naturally, like just in the songwriting process. It's not like we're saying, hey, you know, we're gonna write this heavy ass part, and then here we're gonna put in this soft part, and then we're gonna do this and that. I feel like it just feels natural, and like a natural. I like to think of each song as almost like their own little story, and the way that the music works out, and the way that the lyrics go, and the vocals go with it. I feel like each one of those songs, it's its own little narrative, its own story, where it's like a complete piece. And that way, you know, there are ups and downs. There are, you know, low parts. There are, you know, there's little things that get added that I feel like just actually make it this one whole beautiful piece. And when there's these soft little parts or these open parts, you know, I feel like that's something that really actually sucks you back in. And then when it comes back down to something heavy, it's just like boom in your face. It's like I love the whole contrast of all that stuff. I've always been into that.
Yeah,
Matt and Dan, they write some beautiful music, and the rest of the guys with their parts, it's always, you know, there's always stuff for me to do that I don't feel like I'm getting bored, you know?
Got it. Well, yeah, well, that's kind of the whole record. I mean, like you said, you don't get bored because there's so, like, I'll just take one of the songs. It's arguably, I guess, my favorite song on the record, Worm Tongue. You know, it's got like that, like almost like a hardcore groove to it. But you know what I love, what I love are those little guitar licks that are on there though too. You know those little fills there. I love that. It's just got such a good mix of groove and brutality to it. It just, I think, like I said, I think it's arguably the best song on the record. Talk a little bit about that song, like the musical direction you went in that song.
I mean, when I was writing that and it started getting as hardcore as it was, I was like, where's this going? Like, this isn't territory that I'm used to. Like, I didn't really come up listening to hardcore or anything like that. But you know what? Like, every time I've seen a hardcore band live, I'm fucking moving my head, you know, and I'm moving along, and like they really understand groove. They know what's going on. And I think that song gave me an opportunity to kind of express a part of myself that I really didn't know existed. You know,
okay.
This fucking brass knuckle cargo pants wearing crowd killing motherfucker, you know.
It's beautiful because it's like straight to the point, right in there. You know, it's not, there's no, you know, it's simple and groovy, and it's just, I find it catchy as hell, and it's definitely something that, you know, I would say stands out on the record because it doesn't sound like anything else really that we do, but it's just like you just want to dance to that, and you know, it's weird. It's a weird thing to say for us. It's like, oh man, this is our dance song, but that's like how you feel. It's like, oh, I could go back to now feeling like I was 16 at hardcore metalcore shows and be like, oh yeah, this is what's up.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah. No, it does. Like I said, it's definitely the one song I put on if I want to just kind of get, you know, fired up and just, you know, just get moving. You know, that's definitely the song that'll do it to you. You know, like I said, it's straight and simple and to the point, and you know, I think it's just a great track. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, now, you know, the New York, Long Island. Let's talk a little bit about the scene. You know, you know, obviously there's for years, I mean, there's been great music coming out of Long Island, especially when it comes to, you know, metal and this kind of style of sound. Obviously, a lot of people consider a band like VOD the godfathers of metalcore. You know, obviously one of the all-time greats there on Long Island. You know, obviously, you know, you guys with your post-hardcore elements, bands like Glassjaw, you know, From Autumn to Ashes, obviously Long Island band. I mean, just, you know, right these days, there's this really great band called Restless Spirit from out there. They're like a progressive doom metal band. So I mean, talk a little bit about, you know, the Long Island and New York, you know, metal scene right now, and what you're seeing in the area in terms of new, you know, metal artists in and on the scene. Is it burgeoning right now? I mean, just take us through a little bit of what you guys are seeing right now.
I wish there were more options on Long Island. You know, there's really like, there are venues, don't get me wrong, but I feel like everybody keeps coming back to like the same 2 or 3. And you know, I need to do a little bit more homework on what the local scene sounds like nowadays. You know, the bands we play with, there's a lot of deathcore. I think that got hot. You know, people really love that shit. People like to move. That's what I've really observed in Long Island. You know, if you have songs that make people throw themselves at each other, you're going to do just fine here. You know, and people really like dancing. You know,
yeah.
We don't have the most dancey parts sometimes, you know, and I think maybe that hurts us here in this area. But you know, I think if people give us a shot, they'll fuck with us, you know.
I feel like, yeah, definitely Long Island. It could be like Matt said, very like focused on more deathcore. Hardcore has been like coming up very heavily now in local scene. The city and Queens and Brooklyn, they still pretty lively. I find myself liking that area a lot better in the scene in, you know, the city and Brooklyn.
Sure,
is more diversity. Not to say anything about like Long Island bands or anything. There's a bunch that, you know, we love and we like play with shows, and we have great connections with.
Yeah, outside of metal, there's a real lot of talent here too.
Yeah.
You know, really good bands. And you know, I always thought it was hard for us to break in because we don't really have a lot of friends. We're like 5 fucking nerds. We don't talk to each other. I mean, talk to anybody else outside of each other. You see us at the show, we're in like one little circle. And we even, you know, we talk shit about ourselves all the time. We're like, here we are, boys. I guess we're just talking to ourselves again tonight. Really hard for us to branch out, and that kind of fucks us up a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe we don't make the connections that we could be making and stuff like that. But I think with this album, it'll allow us to come out of our shell a little bit more, and we'll be able to, really, try to make a foothold in our area.
Okay. Well, in terms of playing live shows, I mean, what are you guys planning on doing to support the record? I mean, you gonna line up some shows locally. I did see you got a show in Amityville coming up on Long Island. Yeah. So are you guys are you gonna maybe look to tour and just locally? I mean, what do you got planned for anything when it comes to live performances?
Well, we got that show on May 20th. We brought out some friends that we made in Ohio when we were out there on a run, and they're super killer. And we like putting on shows. We're trying not to really do so many local shows. Most of our shows have been based out of state, going on runs, doing stuff like that to really expand our name. And but when we do play local shows, we like to kind of almost put them on ourselves.
Okay.
And bring bands that we feel that that people would love, and also would be that we enjoy too, and we like to put them on the shows and really try and make like a nice Long Island local show out of it. And AMH has always been super awesome with us and putting us in charge of putting on our own shows, and they've always been great. But for this new album, I'm hoping that with the summer coming up, we can at least plan a few runs over the summer to really in other areas out of state. A couple of bands that are interested in doing stuff with us, doing that. So we'll see if that actually works out, and that would be great, because I feel like getting out there on the road and playing different places is really what helps us get more attention, and actually helps us build little bases in other places, so that we can go out there more and expand from there. It's taking baby steps, but
but that's huge. No, I mean, and I think that's the way to do it. Like you said, you could always play home. And in order, I really think, just as a guy who ran a label and has worked in the music business, I mean, that's what you want to see every band, young band do, newer band is exactly like you just said, build up little, spots for yourself where you have a little bit of a following, where you can always go and tour outside of your local area. Because if you do it too much locally, it could saturate it and people could be like, oh, they're playing it again, So I think it's, I think that's real smart, to do it that way. That's really, I think, what most labels, or just in general, people looking for bands outside of their area to do. I mean, speaking of label, I mean, the first thing I thought about when I heard the record, man, it was just like, how are you guys not signed to a label, man? I mean, do you have any desires to sign with one? Or are you actively trying to maybe get it out there? Or are you completely fine with doing everything on your own?
I mean, obviously, it would be great to have a label to support us. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we're not really great on all this submission to labels or finding, people that right now. Our biggest thing is trying to find a booking agent,
to
help us get better shows, to better connect with, because we've been doing everything, do it ourselves, all these years. We've been doing booking, runs, everything just ourselves. So, I mean, hopefully, the goal would be nice to have some kind of label or some kind of representation, be like, oh, these guys, with a little bit of help, they could really get in front of people that would be, ready to consume this, and really fight behind this. So it's always up in the air. It's always, something we hope for, but it's not like, it won't kill us if we never get a label.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like a yes and no thing, It's like, like, duh, like, I want to be signed. I want to be in a signed band. I want to tell people that shit. But also, no, I like doing things on my own terms. I like, releasing music at my pace, and I like, putting the time and care into the project that is necessary so that I can go to sleep at night.
Sure. Yeah. No, well, I don't think you're gonna have to do too much pushing your or submitting to labels. I think eventually they're gonna take notice. Especially if you guys are out and you're playing live, they're gonna definitely take notice, and I'm sure you'll be hearing back because this is, like I said, once again, it's a great record, self-titled, sophomore release from Patterns of Decay. And guys, why don't you go ahead and let the listeners know where they can check out your music, check out merchandise and tour dates and all that good stuff, and keep up with the band.
Sure. The best source is patternsofdecay.com. That's our website. Our press kit's on there. You can check out upcoming shows, photos, and our stores on there too. We have different bundles right now. We just put this thing out on vinyl, cassette, CD. We have posters. We got stickers, patches, all that good stuff. So, check it out. Support the band if you like what you hear. We're streaming on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. You can check us out on YouTube for our music videos and other updates. And yeah, pretty much everywhere you can listen to music. Hit up our Bandcamp store, especially on Bandcamp Fridays when we get all the money. And
fantastic. All right. Once again, the band is Patterns of Decay. That is the name of the record as well. And guys, Christian, Matt, thank you guys both for coming on, and good luck with everything, man. And once again, fantastic job on the record.
Thanks so much for having us, man. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah. Thanks.
When it's time to rock, it's time to tune in to Crash Course Radio. Featuring the very best of the heavier music, from Slayer to Clutch to Fear Factory, it's all in one place, Crash Course Radio. To tune in to Crash Course Radio, simply visit www.cmsradio.net. You can also tune in on the CMS Network app by opening the app, clicking the musical notes at the top right corner, and selecting Crash Course Radio from our stations. All the best heavy music is there, so you should be too. Ditch the commercial radio and make Crash Course Radio your everyday station.